The most important skill you will ever learn is to love yourself. It is the greatest and easiest thing you can do if you want to have a life that you would enjoy. But why? The quality of your relationship with yourself affects the quality of your relationship with life. This is you. You interact with a lot of things on a daily basis. You will unintentionally have a relationship with each of these things. But the commonality between all of these relationships is you. The way you perceive yourself, the way you relate to yourself, will be the way you relate to everything else in your life. And that is how you perceive your life. That's how you see yourself. When I was younger, I used to criticize myself a lot. I often push myself down. I feel insecure, I feel worthless, and that affects all of the relationships I have in my life. I might have a lot of tension with other people. Also, the relationship with inanimated objects like food or money. Instead of viewing food as a nourishment, I view it as a way to soothe myself when I don't feel good. Or I think about earning money as a way to make up for my self-esteem. These little relationships built my life, and because each of them sucked, my life sucked. On the other hand, there are people who know how to love themselves, either innately or they learn to throughout their life. And their relationship with life is so much better. They have a healthier relationship with food, with money, with other people. And because they love their life, even when it's hard, life loves them right back. So if you look back at your life, and if you see any of your relationships suffering or not fulfilling, then it's time you examine how you're loving yourself. So today we'll learn about Self-Love 101. Let's explore one of my favorite definitions of love, and at the end of it, I will share with you a framework that I use to remind myself to love myself every day. But why do we fail to love ourselves? You would think that loving ourselves comes naturally, right? Since we can perceive ourselves, we're the most important things in our life. But it doesn't happen like that. A lot of the times we are filled with limiting beliefs, with fears that we collected from our childhood experience. We might learn that love is conditional, that you are only worthy when you do something well. That's why you learn how to criticize yourself a lot. You think you mean well because you want yourself to improve. These childhood experiences happen to anyone. These fears that you're not enough, that you'll be abandoned, that you have to try harder if you want to be loved, is not only subconscious, you don't normally know about, but it's also intergenerational. It is passed on by adults through their kids. And it creates a society that reinforces these limiting beliefs. And the result of this is most people don't know what love is. We often think that to love is to pamper and to relax and to spoil yourself with the daily facials and massage. And some might think that to love is to work our ass off and improve ourselves and point out our flaws. If you know that the way you love and the way you receive love from other people is flawed, then can we trust our own definition of love? Let's borrow a brilliant brain that have thought about the subjects for a long time. For Fromm, a philosopher, there are 4 essential elements of love. The elements are care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge. First of all, to love is to care. This is quite simple to understand for most of us. To care is to have an active concern for the life and growth of something. This can be easily seen with a mother's love for her child. She naturally wants to take care of the kids, want to look at the kids, see how she can meet their need. If someone loves their flower, they want to water it, take care of it, give it enough sunlight. If you love something, you think about it and you take care of it. You might know how to care for yourself. You know how you feel, what you think. You can take care of your basic physical needs, like taking a shower. You eat when you're hungry and drink when you're thirsty. But this is a good time to examine how much we care about ourselves. It's very easy to not think about ourselves and what we need when we're so swept up by the busyness of the world, and we have to run errands and do work, and we have to tend to our social lives, and we need to perform these things to be a great person. Although we're supposed to be our highest priority, we're now below everything else in our life. We can always use a little bit more care in our relationship with ourselves, right? And when you care about yourself, it's natural to have a sense of responsibility. Responsibility here doesn't mean duty. Responsibility is to respond to the need of the person you love. When you care about someone, you want to respond to their needs. You feel responsible for their life and growth. This is when the mother feeds her child when he's hungry, or even when he cannot communicate his hunger with her. It is also the partner who brings you water because they know that you're thirsty, or they know that you like to drink when you eat. To feel a sense of responsibility for yourself means to turn to yourself, to acknowledge our needs and fulfill them. I see a lot of us turn away from our needs or against our needs because of our limiting beliefs. I am guilty of ignoring my needs. When I've worked for a long time and my body desperately needs a rest or a walk in a park, my mind says, "You're okay, let's do another hour of work so we can finish this." And that is detrimental because it's not only ignoring my need to relax and unwind, but it also ignores the needs to be heard, to be taken care of. And responsibility, it's also a hard thing for a lot of people. And I think the reason is we have a distorted definition of responsibility. We think that we are responsible when we finish this one task, even though we're so burned out and tired. We feel that we are responsible when we go out of our way to meet people when we're tired. And this is where the third element of love, respect, comes in. You cannot respond to yourself appropriately if you don't have enough respect for yourself. So what does this mean? Respect is to see a person as who they are and who they will be, regardless of our own desires or fears. To respect is to trust that they will grow for their own sake and in their own ways. I know a lot of people who struggle with respect because it's not something that's common in the way we build our society. A mom might feel responsible for their kid. That's natural, right? But it might make her become overbearing, and she might impose her fears, her opinions on her kid, not trusting that the kid have the ability to decide for themselves, or at least can grow that ability. Imagine a scenario. A kid wants to go outside to play in the rain, and the mom doesn't allow him to go out. Even though the mom has a very good intention of keeping the kid clean, healthy, not sick, but in her actions, she unintentionally ignores her kid's feelings and reasoning. Maybe the kid loves water, and maybe he wants to experience the rain once in his life. Maybe it looks fun for his friends, so he wants to join them. He wants to feel belong. The kid might reason with her. Maybe he vouched to clean up for himself, but he doesn't get a chance to express his feelings, his needs, his preference. So he'd feel unheard and not respected. But to learn to respect yourself is not an easy task when there are not a lot of role models around you. The key word for respect is to allow, to give space, to accept, to listen to yourself, to understand yourself, give space for yourself to grow, to feel the emotions that you have to feel. To recognize anger as injustice and disrespect, to learn how to express those feelings in a healthy way, to trust and to accept the decisions we've made in our life, the mistakes we've made in our life, that every step of our journey, no matter how young and stupid we were, we made the best decisions we could at that time in our life. And our fourth and last element of love is knowledge. If you love someone and you care for them, you naturally want to know more about them. And only when you know them enough, you can respect and respond to their needs accordingly. To love someone is to know them. It's not a surface level of knowledge, like what their favorite foods are, what their favorite colors. It's to know their motivations, their deepest fears, their wildest dreams. Is to put the effort to learn about someone, to understand someone, to be curious about the way they view the world. It's hard to respect someone when you don't know them at their core. A lot of the times we might assume that we know ourselves. A lot of the times we assume that we know about ourselves, but there are experiences in life when you do something and you don't understand your reasonings. You might judge yourself as unreasonable to ask for a mental health day, or to judge when you make mistakes when you're talking and slip when you're walking. It might take a lifetime for you to know yourself. You can definitely enhance that process by experience things together, learn new things with yourself, learn about the world, notice your own reactions, observe your thoughts, your feelings, and listen to yourself. The more you learn about yourself, the more exciting your life's gonna be, the more exciting yourself's gonna be, and just makes things fun. That's a life to look forward to. As you can see, these 4 elements of love are interdependent. You can't have one without the other. And this is not new knowledge. We have figured this out years ago. But how can we love ourselves on a daily basis? Is there a practical way to approach self-love? This leads to another question. How do you define yourself? I have defined the self a couple of times previously. If you're curious about it, you can check out the video I talk about self, or another video about authenticity. But for the purpose of staying practical today, I want to introduce yet another definition of self. Our self is made of the 4 bodies. Physical is for our bodies, our physical health. Mental is for our mind, the way we process information. Emotional is for our emotions, it's our heart. And the spiritual body signifies our soul, our spirit, a sense of connections and purpose, the life that drives our physical body. So now we know there are 4 parts of ourself and 4 elements of love. This is the basis of the questions you might ask yourself daily. So here you can reflect on how you care for your body. Are you guilty of not showering every day like myself? Can you have a balanced diet? Can you give yourself a hug? Or more complicated things? How do you respect your body? Can you listen to your body's signals? Can you set boundaries around physical space and personal touch? How do you respond to your soul, your spirit? Do you follow your intuition? Or how do you learn about your heart? These are only a few examples that are applicable to my life. I encourage you to make this as personal as you want. While this is a great guide for you, something visible for you to see, none of it will make sense if you don't spend time to be present with yourself. And if no advice in the video has sticks, no actions that really relates to you, I really want you to take away one thing, that you can always spend more time for yourself, to reflect, to reevaluate the relationship we have with ourselves, because that is going to determine the quality of your life. And if you want a good life, practice to have a good, loving relationship with yourself. Thank you for being here today. Thanks for listening to my journey of learning how to love myself. I love to share all these experiences with you, and I'd love to see you again very soon. Bye bye.